and welcome to my channel Close to the Edge. My name is Pat, where we talk about all things prog rock, classic rock, heavy rock, and maybe even a sticker rock. Stick around, you never know. Today I have a friend of mine who I've been a friend with since I was 4, isn't that right, Paul? Paul Bulger.
That's it,
and today we're going to do our top 10 vocalists, our favourite vocalists in rock music. And Paul has kindly joined me today.
How could I resist?
He couldn't resist. Especially with Kevin, another great friend of ours, after being on
We're
there.
the triangle of music out in this Duggan.
We are the triangle. We are the triangle.
I know.
We are the triangle.
Anyway.
We are. But that's what we're going to do today. But before I get on to that, Paul is a vocalist and guitarist with this band, Four Towns. And this album was released in November. Isn't that right, Paul?
Yeah.
And it's available on your website. What's your website?
Fourtowns.com, and it's also on Bandcamp.
And he has a YouTube channel as well where they did 4 videos.
Yeah, that's right. We made 4 videos.
So if you like any of the tracks on those 4 videos, you can either buy this on LP or you
CD.
can buy the CD.
CD. And also, I think if you buy, I could be mistaken, but Steve Roach, who's the bass player, he said, I think you get a free digital download if you buy that on Bandcamp.
I think so. I think so. On the
So if you buy the album on CD or vinyl, you get the download.
Now this is well worth a listen, lads. Right, it's not creating the wheel. It's brilliant.
It's shining the wheel, Pat.
Shining the wheel. It's rock music.
It's hard
it's
rock.
Hard rock.
Yeah.
And I saw him live there last month in
Bank Lane.
the Bank Lane here in Waterford. And I believe you're playing next week out in the...
Oh, that's my own thing. It's a separate solo gig. What I'm doing, I mean, by the time this goes out, it'll be gone, I suppose. But that's a kind of an end to my own. It's not an end, but it's like I'm rounding off what I've been doing with my own music, because I've done 3 albums of my own before Four Towns started.
That's correct, you did, yeah.
Yeah, I got back into music after years of not doing it. And Four Towns kind of grew out of, in a weird way, me doing my own thing, because the lads in the band, we used to jam for fun. And then Mick, who was a guitar player, was going, geez, it'd be nice to kind of play maybe our own stuff. And I said, let's you're all good enough, let's write a few songs and see what happens. 2 years later, you have that in your hand.
No, I say fair play to you, lads. I really do. And it's worth a listen, lads. Worth a listen.
Yeah, it's kind of, can I just say though,
that
it's hard, it's not heavy metal.
No, it's not heavy metal. No, it's not.
Well, you like prog, don't you?
Yeah.
So there's a little lean in the last song into a slight...
It's proggy.
Kind of proggy. And that was unintentional, we didn't mean that. So our kind of template, or our idea that we talked about was all of us are of a particular age, and we all kind of grew up on music between 1978 say, and 1988, right? So there's that, but we all love older classic rock. But the thing is, when we talked about recording this, our template for sound was like albums, say like Van Halen 1 or UFO or Thin Lizzy. As much as I might like Metallica or Black Sabbath, we didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And me and Mick, we don't sing that kind of growly or that screamy thing. So that's kind of where it is.
Bit of easy top in there.
Yeah,
too, yeah.
blues rock, hard rock, kind of,
yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, but there's a bit of us playing. There's a bit of punky rhythms, and there's kind of a little bit proggy, like you said.
Yeah, but it's not all the same.
No.
Every track is different.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, and it was a chance for the 4 lads in the band all have different tastes, and I think it shows. It's our record collection in one record.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so hopefully people like it.
Hopefully you do now, lads. Anyway, right, Paul, we get off number 10 on your...
Do you want me to go?
Go first, yeah.
It's going to surprise a few people, but it's actually Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop, number 10.
Yeah, and the reason I like him is I like a bit of punky, growly vocals, even though I don't really do it myself. But this album in particular, when I heard this caught my ear. It's from 1970, I think. And this was ignored, forgotten about, abused, kicked about when it came out. Nobody gave a rat's about this thing.
Yeah.
But Elektra took it up and signed them and gave them a go. And they had 2 albums. This is their second. The third one came years later. David Bowie produced a different band, different stooges. But the singing on this is brilliant because he was flying in the face of what was going on at the time. This is 1969, I think, or is it 770? So at that time, Zeppelin had come out. Hendrix was doing his Gang to Funk. You had the Who, so there was a lot of shouting, singing going on. But he went somewhere else. He took it into, I won't say half speaking, but he kind of took it somewhere else that I don't think the world was ready for.
Okay, would you recommend that album?
100%.
Yeah.
It's mad, right? Like, there's punk rock on this from 1970. It's as punky as anything. And
it
it's
came out
heavy,
later on, yeah.
But The last track is a free jazz workout on a saxophone. You're like, where's this coming from? But and I don't really like jazz, whatever. It's all gets a bit carried away. But this thing, I just love it. But I love the way he sings on this. And
as a vocalist, would he be unique, Paul? Would he
I think so. I think David Bowie would have even said that he was kind of influenced by him.
Very heavily influenced.
Yeah, and I tell you, there's an album by him that if you like hard rock, and I'm talking about straight hard rock, not this kind of offbeat stuff. Cold Metal from 1988. Steve Jones at the Pistols is playing guitar on it. What an album.
That's interesting.
Unreal. And he's singing on that in that kind of deep Iggy Pop thing that he does. But it works. With good 80s, 70s hard rock on top. So I just like him. I just think he's got something unique.
Thanks for that, Paul. My number 10, Paul, and another player, Roger Waters. On this, after another shine on it there. But on the wall, he's absolutely superb. I know Gilmour does a lot of vocals on it. But Waters angry. He's an angry vocalist, and it comes across. And the fact that he writes the lyrics.
But he's not angry like Iggy Pop. He's in your face angry. He's really kind of clever angry.
Yeah, subtle.
Yeah.
You know. But I think that's my number 10 anyway.
Very good.
Roger Waters. Paul, your number 9.
Number 9 would be Phil Lynott.
Okay.
Live and Dangerous. And like I'm kind of picking these based on what I like rather than what I think is best.
Vocalist, because you are a vocalist as well. Like, you know.
And he wouldn't. I kind of lean the stuff that I would have tried to copy when I was younger, trying to be learning how to sing, and I still don't know if I can bloody do it. But you give it a go. But I love the way he sings on this, and I at the time I wasn't really into Lizzie when all this came out. I got into it. I actually saw them before they broke up. I saw them in '83, and don't believe a word on this. And still in love with you, you know. And he goes, he does Southbound, then he can do Rosalie. So this album, I think he's just brilliant on because he's just, he's from Ireland, and it's inspirational for fellas like us from Ireland. He like nothing against lads from England or America, but it's nice to think one of your own
Irish, exactly.
Can shine, you know.
And you just said he's different style of vocal. Like, he did. Usually the opening track on that, Emerald.
Brilliant. Like, Emerald is unreal.
And he has an Irish twang to it as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember covering it when we were in a band with Seth and Steve, had a rock band when we were kids in Waterford back in the 80s. And Emerald was the one we used to do. And I could just about get it. Yeah. So he beat my number 9.
Okay, thanks for that, Paul. My number 9 might surprise a few people that I'm a big Deep Purple head, but it's Ian Gillan. And Ian Gillan in rock.
I thought that he'd be your number 1 or 2.
No, because I think the first 4 albums, studio up to Who Do We Think We Are, brilliant vocalist. I don't think he ever recaptured that again.
Not really.
Even in the Gillan band.
No, he was too shrill. Something broke in the voice.
Something went on the voice, but those first 4 albums.
Do you ever hear what he did in the mid-70s, all the jazz rocky stuff?
Yeah, I've heard that.
He's really laid back. It's like the Deep Purple
brings it back. Brings it back.
Yeah.
Especially the first one he did. It's it's different.
Yeah, Scarabaeus, you know that one?
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, dodgy out, but I'm sorry, Ian.
But I think he's one of my favourite guitarists.
And you know
obviously
what?
in my
The
top
singing
10.
on this is probably some of my favourite singing by him.
Yeah, and I think the lyrics, his best lyrics are on that.
Yeah, no.
No, and no one came.
Demon's Eye.
No one came.
Yeah, no one came.
Yeah.
I want to feel it. I'm playing Friday. I don't want to hear No One Came.
No one came. No one came. Part 2.
No, stop.
Anyway, that's Ian Gillan, number 9.
Very good. My number 8 is Ian Gillan.
Oh, there we have it.
Yeah.
That's what between us there on that one.
Oh yeah. So exactly, and it's Child in Time, obviously. We'll get you on this.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And again, you know, when I used to be trying to sing the songs in the sitting room at home, I could always do the first part-ish, and then when the screaming came, I just sat down.
Exactly.
I just gave up. So he's my number 8. He's brilliant on this album.
Superbo.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we said it, when Kevin got that cassette tape?
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
In Rock and Fireball.
Well, up to then, you know, it's funny. What was that, 79?
78, Kevin said.
Yeah. I was into Elvis and 50s rock and roll. I had no interest in the pop music of the day, and I have certainly no interest in what's around today either. But when I was 13 or 14, the pop music, the Bay City Rollers, when I was younger, of course, we were all into it.
Yeah, we were 9 or 10. Scarves and all that kind of stuff.
Scarves and crap. And I was too young for Slade. I was too young for, in a way, Ziggy Stardust. I got into that later because they had kind of come and gone by the time we were 12, 13. So I was into Elvis. I was into 50s music because my uncles and my mother loved all that stuff, and that was what's in the house. And then he got that tape,
Just
and that was it.
that changed everything.
Everything, yeah. I remember going buying albums, like,
yeah,
and saving up for albums.
no pocket money.
No,
We cut some grass, didn't we?
yeah. I worked. I think I worked in the supermarket, lifting 4 stone bags of potatoes to get enough money to buy albums.
Yeah, we were just absolutely
No,
nuts.
but anyway, that'll be my number 8 classic.
Right, my number 8 is the great Jim Morrison with the Doors.
Right.
And this is the first album, but he's brilliant all the way through. Died
Yeah,
very
he is.
young, 27?
27, yeah.
But he had a way that he could sing and he could speak.
He was a crooner, I think. He was coming out of a very... I loved him as well, but he wouldn't be in my top 10. But I did like... See, like we probably have 100 singers we like. In all kinds of styles. I like country music, I like blues, I like all kinds of weird stuff. Traditional Irish singers and everything. But with him, I always felt he was a bit of a crooner, you know, like he was tapping into... I won't say Dean Martin and those guys, but there was something in his voice. He wasn't really rock.
No, not rock. No.
He had something else going on.
Yeah, he had something else going on, but I think he's an absolute
He's one of a kind.
a brilliant lyricist as
Yeah,
well.
the lyrics are great.
The lyrics are brilliant.
He's also
Anyway,
a madman.
that's the brilliant Jim Morrison. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jim Morrison.
My where were I at? I lost count. 7, is it?
No, you're on I think you're on number 6.
6, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you now.
Tell you, 1, 2, 3. No, I'm on 7.
7th, beg your pardon. I always get counting is not one of my strong points.
No, I failed maths in the leaving. Chris Cornell, Soundgarden. I really like this guy. He's a bit of a screamer. It's funny when he's our age. Like, he was born the day after I was born.
He passed away though,
He
didn't
did,
he?
poor guy,
Yeah.
a few years ago, yeah. But he was a brilliant singer. And like, never really got into his solo stuff, but the Soundgarden band, Temple of the Dog, and then Audioslave I like as well. He's a bit of a screamer, and to me what he is, he's brilliant. He can sing. Like, Temple of the Dog was amazing. He was able to go down really quiet and then let it rip. But he was like a weird hybrid of a punk singer with David Coverdale and Ronnie Dio.
I like Soundgarden.
I like
his voice.
His generation, like,
What album is that?
Bad Motorfinger.
Oh yeah, that has
Jesus Christ, Pose.
Oh.
That's my favourite.
That's
I
unreal.
think.
That's
And Johnny
unreal.
Cash covered a song off of this as well. You know, he kind of spoke it. But yeah, your man, I don't know. He just had something very sad.
I think he would have been probably one of the best vocalists
Oh,
of that
without a
grunge,
doubt.
that kind of music.
To me, like, they were the last of what we would consider rock. Do you know? Like, I can't think of a few... Like, there's been Blackberry Smoke and there's a few bands that have come out in the last 10, 20 years. But the last real push for what we'd consider rock music, hard rock, was probably that grunge thing.
Yeah.
There's not been anything really... Like, I mean, I know you've got your Oasis and all these guitar bands, but they're not rock bands. To me. They're
British
kind
pop.
of... They're pop music with guitars, and that's fine. And good luck to them. But when you put on what we class as good, solid, loud, hard rock, I think Soundgarden and even Nirvana probably fit Temple of the Dog, Alice in Chains. But this guy, he's shown out of them all, I think. So that's my number
Pearl
7.
Jam, especially Pearl Jam.
He's good. He's a bit mopey though.
Yeah, he's a good voice.
He's a very good singer.
Husky
but
kind of voice.
He is,
isn't
but I always found him a little bit kind of depressing.
Okay.
Sorry, Eddie. I don't know you.
My number 7 is Ian Anderson with Jethro Tull, and he's one of the few singers that kind of sings in his own kind of accent, isn't he?
Mm.
And up to about 1982, up to Broadsword, he was absolutely superb. His voice did change a little bit from the early days, but I think after 82 he had a problem with...
Did he?
He had
A lot of fellas got that
he had
thing.
he had an issue on the Under Wraps tour where I think he strained his voice, and it was never the same again.
Right.
And he had to sing in a kind of a lower. But he suits the music he writes.
Oh,
he
yeah,
writes all the
100%.
lyrics. He writes all the music.
Yeah.
So
Like on Aqualung, I just loved the way he sang as well. That was the first Jethro Tull I ever heard.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be as much into it as you and Kevin are, but
yeah,
but I have a bunch of their albums. But yeah, there's a lot of respect for him.
yeah. But he's singing on this now, Songs from the Wood. If you could compare that to Aqualung, it's different.
It is, yeah.
But you still know it's he.
Yeah, but he's kind of folky, isn't he?
He is folk.
He has a bit of an English Northumbrian, North England folk. He's Scottish, is he?
Scottish originally, yeah.
But
And then lived in. When they moved when they were young, I think to Blackpool.
Yeah, that kind of feels like he's singing that Northern
Lancashire,
English.
you know that. Lancashire,
And there's a lot of that stuff overlaps with some Irish stuff. It has a kind of a Celtic.
Oh yeah, you have that in this, yeah,
influence,
yeah. Anyway, that's my number 7.
Okay. My number 6.
Now we're
is
on to number 6.
Glenn Hughes. On this.
Oh,
Might Just Take Your Life. When I heard that,
yeah.
I went, "What? Why is David Coverdale even in the band?"
Big brilliant folks. You
Coverdale
saw Glenn Hughes.
It's only recently.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did a tour where he was playing all the Purple songs.
yeah.
That was brilliant. Myself and Andy from Four Towns, we went over to
Yeah.
England to stay with a mate of ours in Manchester. That was brilliant. He played all the classic. He even did some of the Mark II stuff. And he could sing, still do all the... I don't know if they did Child in Time, actually. I can't remember. But he could do all the screaming stuff. The man is in his mid-70s.
Yeah.
amazing. But Might Just Take Your Life, Glenn Hughes, and I think he's brilliant. He's still at it. He's still amazing.
He's brilliant when he does the thing with Lay Down, Stay Down with Covered It. You know,
Yeah.
It's brilliant vocals, the way they interchange.
Oh no, it's just great. And you know, some of the thing that we do in the Four Times, myself and Mick, we had that conversation where Mick was always singing in bands himself and playing guitar, and we didn't, like I said, Mick, you have to sing, you can't just be the guitar player in this Four Times, you're a great singer. So we decided on that, we kind of nicked the idea from them and ZZ Top that we wouldn't sing a song each. We didn't, because we felt that would lose the identity of the band.
Mix it.
So take a verse, take a line, do what they did, or try
whatever
and
suits
do that.
the actual
whatever suits it. But in every song, like if you notice in our songs, nobody sings a whole one.
No, that's true.
When we're playing live, we might do a cover, and I'll sing it, and Mick might do a cover.
Yeah, that's different.
But that's different, yeah. But the setup these lads had was brilliant. But there's that, do you know that story about David Coverdale when he got the gig and he went back to home, wherever he was from, up in Yorkshire?
Red Cat.
Yeah,
Red
and
Cat,
he had the sister. He told his sister that he got it, and she went. She was a music fan. He was older, and she said to him, "But they have Glenn Hughes, don't they?" And he went, "Yeah." What did he need you for? He was disgusted. But Richie Blackmore wanted a bluesy singer,
more like Paul Rogers, man.
And he wanted a frontman.
Yeah, a frontman, and he was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, my number 6, and this is Stormbringer now. This is.
Oh, we're into purple territory now. Here.
David Coverdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love.
Love don't mean a thing.
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant on this album. I think he's better on this album than Burn.
I agree.
He
was only young for that. Was his first thing.
And I think he got better again then on Come Taste the Band.
Sure, by the time he got to Whitesnake, he kind of found his own feet.
He found his own feet, you know, and a superb vocalist. Very into Paul Rogers mode.
I think that's what he was into. Well, look, I read something, and again, don't be shooting me off this, but I read or heard the Robert Plant used to call him David Cover Version.
David Cover Version, okay.
Because he had a tendency to copy him a little bit, and Paul Rogers. But you know what? So what? Everybody takes something from someone.
Well, they have to copy.
You have to start somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
He made it.
And you have to be influenced by someone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that album was classic.
Oh, pure classic. Anyway, that's David covered it.
Then my number 5, is it?
Yeah, before we go, Paul, number 5, I just want to say thanks very much to all my new subscribers, returning subscribers, and if you do like this video, like it, and hit on that subscribe button and notification. Please do that, and try to get us up to 1,000, please, before the Christmas.
I'm going to subscribe to you after this.
Yeah, okay. Very good, Paul. Anyway, this is our top 5 now coming up.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I know where I am. Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
Oh, okay.
And the reason, this album in particular, I know that all the 70s stuff was great. They had a bit of a mishap in the early 80s when he left and all that. Or when they broke up, but this album I think is from '89, and he's singing on this is just brilliant because
I haven't heard that album, Paul.
It's
now.
fantastic. And was well worth watching if anybody's interested, because you know they became so big in the '90s and into the '90s that people forgot the bluesy. I know they did a blues album a few years ago. I think they're retired now, aren't they? They've given up, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, this album there's a making of on YouTube. You can see them writing the album.
Oh, I might watch that.
Absolutely brilliant. But the singing on this is amazing. It goes from the coolest blues stuff to the heaviest of loudest.
And what year is that, Paul?
89, I think.
And I sing him. Yeah, I've heard Aerosmith before, and I do like you see. He's a good vocalist. You know, he's a great vocalist.
Brilliant. Yeah, so that would be
He's high up in number 5. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My number 5 is Peter Gabriel from the great progressive rock band Genesis, and I think Gabriel, something about his voice and he can do all that whimsical stuff.
Did you like the later stuff that he did, or was it more the Genesis stuff?
Well, his stuff as a solo artist, solo artist, yeah, he's good, but I much prefer it with Genesis. It's whimsical. Like this album, you see the Fox with the Red Dress?
Yeah.
The first time he actually stunned his band members when playing in Dublin.
Right.
He came out and wore the red dress.
Oh, good.
And they were all looking around.
He didn't tell him he was going to do it.
Never told him.
Yeah, I must do that the next 4 times.
But he's an absolutely superb vocalist. And I think when he left after the Lamb, obviously Phil Collins is a brilliant vocalist as well. I don't think they ever hit the heights. Because his lyrics as well were just...
Yeah. Well, they were a different band, weren't they?
Yeah,
they became a kind of a pop rock band.
But yeah, they did it. Well, especially when Steve Hackett left. But his lyrics were very English. You know, whimsical lyrics, you know. Yeah. And he was kind of an actor on stage as well.
Yeah, it's very theatrical, yeah.
Very theatrical. Anyway, that's Peter Gabriel, my number 5.
And then my number 4, is it?
Yeah.
David Lee Roth from on this album in particular, and getting a shine on. I'm trying to do it, so I won't get a shine.
Yeah, Women and Children First.
Women and Children First is their third album, is it? Yeah,
Third album, yeah.
So this, I bought this. This is the first Van Halen album I bought. You're talking about that tape thing.
Actually, that's when I was just thinking about that the other day, actually. I was saying it to Kevin, actually. It was Paul that got us into Van Halen, because when we heard that, especially when we heard Fools.
Yeah. I remember, we're all in my sitting room.
Yeah.
Doom, 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 what the hell is that?
What the hell is that?
And then your man, like, singing, he's not the best singer in the world, but he fitted it so well. And he was a character, he was a gas man, and the lyrics are fun, and the way he was singing was almost half talking, and he's doing all that kind of weird bluesy, schmaltzy kind of ad-libby stuff to line up the back of her stockings and all this nonsense.
He's very California. He's from California. Isn't he?
I think he was. Yeah. But he's just a character. But I just like him. I just thought he had a. He's great.
I like him as a vocalist as well.
Fun,
yeah, I like him as a vocalist.
Technically, he's not one of these. Even Sammy Hagar took over from who you could argue is a better singer.
But I never liked Van Halen with Sammy Hagar.
No, they were just Van Hagar. They were just a good rock band. But this was unique. These lads brought something. They had. There was something in that foursome.
Yeah, they did exactly.
Number 4 there. Now.
My number 4 is John Wetton from King Crimson, bass player and vocalist, and he had a silky voice.
He was in Asia, right?
But he formed Asia in the early 80s with Steve Howe,
good
Carl Palmer and Jeffrey Downes, which I was never really into because they were more poppy.
They were like Foreigner or something.
Jeremy, or that kind of stuff. But especially on this album, he's unbelievable. John Wetton, a brilliant vocalist and a brilliant bass player, but he had that kind of silky voice. He even ended up on one album with Wishbone Ash, believe it or not. Yeah.
Is he still around?
No, unfortunately he passed away.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, passed away a few years ago. Yeah, John Wetton. But anyway, that's my number 4, John Wetton with the great King Crimson.
So I think we're going to be hitting similar territory now in a minute.
Alright, okay.
My number 3, Ronnie James Dio on Sign of the Southern Cross on this album. Now, he's brilliant on Rainbow Horizon, and I even like him on the Elf albums, and the first Rainbow album is great.
And his first
his own stuff, Diver Down, brilliant.
Yeah.
I saw him a couple of times. I saw him in Berlin with Dio, and myself and Kevin saw him in London with the Sabbath, the Heaven and Hell thing.
The Heaven and Hell tour.
He was the one on the night that shone. The other lads felt tired, but he was brilliant, and he was sick. Nobody knew at the time.
And that's right. Yeah,
he was amazing. Yeah, but anyway, that would be.
But he is. I will get to him now in a sec. But he is what you call. Was he classically trained?
I think so. Yeah. But he was also he was a bit older than everybody else at the time, getting into the rock thing. He made it in his 30s, I suppose, and he had been in bands in the rock and roll time. I think he was he born in 43 or 4? He's a bit older. He's like Jimmy Page. He's a little bit older.
A little bit older. Yeah.
But he would have been in rock and roll bands and doing that kind of crooning singing, the kind of lounge music.
Yeah.
So he moved through everything, and then he was into the hard rock thing. And I think it was when he heard Zeppelin and all that he just said, "I'm going that way." I mean, Jesus, there's nobody better really singing hard rock. He's just brilliant.
Brilliant vocalist. Yeah, brilliant with Rainbow as well.
Everything. That Sign of the Southern Cross starts out. It's like you'd be talking about Ian Anderson and these lads playing folk music. It's a soft, and then the riff comes in, and he just takes off.
Oh, that's absolutely
unreal.
Oh, brilliant vocalist. My number 3 is the great John Anderson from Yes. And I think his vocals on this album in particular, Topographic Oceans. Now, a lot of people think this is a boring, 4-track double LP.
I'd be one of them.
Yeah, I know you would.
But we won't fight about it.
We won't fight. But I think he has a unique vocals. He's very, low vocals. And he's with a group now called the Band of Geeks, and they brought out a new album. His voice is still as good, and he's 80 years of age.
It's like Glenn Hughes. Some of these lads can do it.
Still the same voice. Like, he is absolutely superb.
But that's an interesting point. We've often talked about this ourselves and other fellas I know. A lot of the guys like Ian Gillan and them or even Robert Plant that were young and they could scream their heads off or really go loud, and as they got older they couldn't keep. Even Coverdale, he couldn't keep that up.
It going, no.
But his guys maybe like him or even the likes of Glenn Hughes is a bit of, he's outside the loop. I don't know what's going on there, but
yeah, because he did scream.
He did, yeah, and he still can. But there's not many that can.
Singers that didn't really push their voice.
Paul Rogers is still as great.
Or couldn't push their voices.
No, but they just weren't into it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't their thing. And I think the likes of Paul Rogers to me is still inspirational. He's able to. He's singing now the way he could sing way back.
Yeah, but absolutely, John Anderson, absolutely superb.
And he's like that, is he?
Still the same. Yeah, still the same with the band. You'd think it was something that he had sung in the 70s.
Right.
His voice is still the same, even live.
Yeah. Because we Mick picked up that new Phil Mogg album, the UFO singer.
Yeah.
And I love UFO; they're one of my favorite bands. But him as a singer, yeah, he's good and everything, but his voice has changed a little bit. It's still hard rock, but he's singing in lower register.
Lower
but it
tone.
works.
Yeah, it does work.
It works. Yeah.
Your number
So
two.
my number 2 is Robert Plant.
Yeah.
Right. And funnily enough, we were talking about it before you put on the camera, which because I'm going that way to get on.
Yeah.
There you go. It's got the opposite. I actually like his more recent stuff.
You were saying that,
Vocally,
yeah.
I mean,
Solo
I love all the Zeppelin stuff and his 80s solo stuff, and then when you went into a bit more back into hard rock. But in the last 10, 20 years, he's been doing all that kind of Americana rootsy stuff, and I think he's just outdone himself in his older age. It's unreal. And we went to see him. He has that band, what's it called? Saving Grace, with that English singer. They played in Waterford.
That's right, I missed that concert because I didn't get a ticket for it.
I got a ticket. It was amazing, but it was all kind of very soft and laid back. And then he's still able to let it rip a bit. But the reason I picked that album is because the song "What Is and What Should Never Be."
Yeah, brilliant track.
But it's like what I was saying to you earlier with Child in Time. I can kind of give the first verse a go. As soon as they start screaming, I'm like, put it away. Not a hope. So he'd be a big.
Okay, Robert Plant, absolutely amazing vocalist.
Brilliant,
absolutely amazing. My favourite number 2.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned is Ronnie James Dio. He could have been my number 1. Like these can change, Paul, because they're favourites.
Listen, I mean, I could have brought over a bunch of other styles of music, soul music, blues music.
Yeah,
but this is a rock thing, right?
Rock thing.
So we're just talking.
But
about
I think Dio, especially on this, one,
he's unreal. Yeah.
He really hits it.
It's a shame they never did another one, isn't it? I know they did one in the 90s.
Dehumanizer, which is not the same. Like, but they had arguments and all that kind of stuff. But I think he's one of the greatest.
Oh yeah,
vocalists.
Probably the.
I think he must be classic.
And he's unique, he's unique.
He's a small man.
Yeah, he was tiny little fella. Yeah.
Tiny little fella, but the voice.
I know. I think that most people say you should
voice.
Sing from your stomach. I think he sang from his heels.
Oh, wherever he sang from, it was unbelievable.
It worked, yeah.
Anyway, that's my number 2, Ronnie James Dio.
My number 1 then is a guy I mentioned a minute ago,
Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers.
Yeah.
And the reason I pick him is because I think what was he 18 or 19 when they did All Right Now? They were only kids. I think the bass player wrote it when he was 17. It's crazy. But what I always liked about it was he was a fella that never tried to push the voice too far. Later, there is an album he did called Muddy Waters where he did a kind of a blues rock version of all classic blues songs, and he redid a couple of free songs. And he had a few fellas from those 80s bands like Rat and bands like that, and it got a bit,
I know what you're saying,
it got a bit metal, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think this guy, he's just a big inspiration, and I couldn't even sing anything like him, but I just like that he's from our part of the world, in that he's next door in England. He's from a working class kind of town, and for some reason in Britain, I don't know what happened in the 60s, but a lot of them lads tapped into something.
They did.
Like it's amazing, and we were just a little bit young that we got into it a bit later.
Yeah, we wouldn't be,
Like they were all broke
we
up.
were the wrong age, really.
All them bands were gone by the time we discovered them.
Yes.
But as a singer, I would say Paul Rogers is number 1. Because if you hear the soft folky stuff he does, and the bluesy, then the hard rock, and the phrasing.
And of course, when he went on with Bad Company as well.
Brilliant. Yeah. But I think a lot of his influences would have been Sam Cooke and those blues soul singers. That's where he was coming from.
Yeah, he's a brilliant vocalist.
Amazing.
Not in my favourite, not in my top 10 now, of course, but that's just personal choice,
yeah, sure.
Personal taste. My favourite vocalist, now I said I could change at any time, is the late Greg Lake from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, who started off in King Crimson. And he has such a velvet voice. Brilliant bass player, but his voice suited the music, the progressive rock music.
Yeah.
And I always feel when listening to him that he must have done he had to be classically trained or to get that.
You'd be surprised with some people. Some things it's just natural, it's kind
it
of.
Could be natural with Greg Lake, but
I don't know.
I always loved the way he sang, even when he sings the poppier tracks, the more acoustic tracks that Emerson, Lake and Palmer have. Like he has that song everyone knows that he wrote that got to number 2. I think I Believe in Father Christmas. That's his song.
I don't know that.
Yeah, well, you don't know that one. Okay, you'll hear it. You'll hear it on the.
I probably missed.
You'll hear it on the radio anyway this time of the year. But anyway, I think Greg Lake, absolutely superb. My favourite.
Well, you know what you're saying about that
today, anyway.
Tomorrow could be someone else.
Next week could be different.
No. But I'm like that.
It's our personal taste now.
Exactly. Yeah. But there was something that I never really got lessons on like that. And I went to a couple just to figure out is it worth going to? But there was one bit of advice, and listen to a lot of these rock fellas. It was the guy said you should be singing like you speak, and I didn't know what he meant. And I said, explain that, and he said, well, when was the last time you lost your breath speaking? And I went, never. He said, probably when you're angry. He said, are you angry singing? And I went, no, not really. He says, so you should sing like you speak. And that's what I often think about with a lot of these lads, that they were able to, maybe they weren't all classically trained, but they had a way of understanding that when you're singing these songs, first of all, you have to get inside the head of the thing you're singing and understand it and what's the story you're telling.
Yeah.
But you're not going to physically run out of breath. You still have to maintain that for 2 hours on stage, or like having done the bit of recording, you could sing a line, for example, and the rest of the verse would be great, and everybody's kind of going, do you want to do that line again? So they bang you in, and then you're 10% out, then you're 3% out, and you're not happy. No, but it's like you're on repeat, and you have to remember that, and you have to find that way back in. And I think there's a few tricks. Yeah. So sometimes when you're doing overdubs, like they'll punch you in. If you're a drummer and you messed up, most of the drums are live, let's say in rock music, they used to be. But the guy could be playing, but the engineer's punching him in now, just taking the hit in the cymbal, or the guy's playing the guitar and he's putting down an overdub. He's got the rhythm worked out, but he wants to fix a little bit of the solo, so he plays along with himself, and then the guy will go, and he takes that for 3 seconds. That's how they do it.
It is how to do it, isn't it?
They used to do it years ago like that as well, but they used to cut tape.
Nowadays it's all digital, so easy.
Much easier now. You just
much easier.
cut it out.
Now, honourable mentions.
Honourable mentions, right. Greg Allman from the Allman Brothers.
Yes. Now I have the live album ordered because everyone's on to me to get this live album.
This is one of their best albums.
Is it?
Studio albums.
Yeah.
But he's in that thing of that southern rock, and I like Leonard Skinner as well, and the way Ronnie Van Zant sang. But he suited Skinner. I don't know if he could have sing with anybody else, but this guy has, you're talking about velvet voice, a little bit of gravel, a little bit of velvet. If you didn't know his hair was blonde and he had pale skin, you'd think the chap was a black lad. And the singing is just, he's unreal singer, just brilliant. And then the other three were I picked three more, and they're all kind of in and around the same. They're not really heavy rock, but one of them is Rod Stewart with the Faces.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic album. This one's wrecked. I need to get a new copy. Frankie Miller, remember Darlin'?
Yes,
he was great friends with Rory Gallagher, and what a singer. He's kind of similar to Rod Stewart or Joe Cocker and Greg Allman. They all have that gravelly, bluesy thing, bit of Paul Rodgers. And then the other guy that I really, really like, and he's not really hard rock, it's just good rock and roll, is Bob Seger.
Bob Seger. Yeah.
What a singer.
Oh, a brilliant singer.
Unreal. So they'll be my honourable mentions.
That's very good, Paul. My few honourable mentions now. Kevin is going to be very disappointed with this. He is. Robert Plant, obviously, but he could have been in my top 10 too.
He will tomorrow.
Yeah. He could be tomorrow. Robert Plant. We have Bob Catley. Is it Catley or Catley from Magnum?
Yeah.
What a brilliant, love his voice. Yeah. Chase the Dragon. We have Chris Goss from Masters of Reality. Yeah, you like this album?
He's great album, yeah.
He's a great voice, though, hasn't he? As a guitarist.
But he's not really a heavy rock singer. He's more. There's something else going on.
It's very southern too, isn't it? Yeah.
He's kind of bluesy.
We have to mention, of course, Freddie Mercury, Queen. If you were saying like, who's the best vocalist?
He's up in the top 3, isn't he?
He'd be up at the very top.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't be
technically. But
he wouldn't be my top 10 favourite. But he is. You know what I mean?
But I mean, like if you think about all the earlier Queen, the heavy rock stuff, and then he did Crazy Little Thing called Love, which I really like because it's old rock and roll stuff. Yeah. It's the poppier stuff I could never take to. But when I saw that Live Aid, remember the Live Aid thing? I think I went out and bought Queen albums.
Yeah, exactly.
I think half the world did.
I like Neil Young's voice.
And Neil Young's brilliant,
He has a unique voice, Canadian man.
Yeah.
But if you heard that's Neil Young.
Yeah, you'd know it straight away.
Straight away, he has a quirky kind of voice. Very unusual voice. Brilliant.
Do you know, I forgot to actually mention, now you've reminded me, there will be another honorary mention.
Yeah.
The singer with Crazy Horse. I think, is it Danny Wootton? There was the band, the band that he ended up using as his backing band, they had done their own couple of albums.
Yeah, Crazy Horse, yeah.
That guy's a great singer.
Okay.
Is it Danny Wootton? I'm not sure. I think that's his name.
Now, it's not going to be, this is a Frank Zappa album, Joe's Garage. It's not going to be Frank Zappa he kind of sings and kind of talks. It's Ike Willis is on this. Oh, brilliant.
Don't know.
Yeah, brilliant. If you listen to his voice, he's so powerful. And he's a rhythm guitarist as well, but he's a brilliant vocalist. Top class, like, you'd know he probably played in a lot of soul bands as well, that kind of.
Listen, I'm already starting to think about other honourable mentions.
Of course you are.
Your brain starts going into overdrive. Betty Davis is amazing, the funk rock singer, for example. Yes, We could be here till tomorrow.
Oh, we could be here tomorrow. I have a few more. I have Derek Schulman. I have to mention out of Gentle
Who's he?
Giant.
Oh.
Derek Schulman.
Oh, I don't know that.
He'd be an acquired taste.
Yeah, right.
But he'd be an honourable mention of mine because I
Where
do
are they
like
from?
England.
Okay.
They're English, yeah. Now, the first, have we the first woman here? I like actually
Yeah, I had a couple of girls and I thought,
Debbie Harry.
yeah, she's brilliant.
Is she a brilliant vocalist?
Janis Joplin.
Another one, yeah. And
The
then, of
girl
course,
with a heart.
we have to mention Paul McCartney and John Lennon, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you have to mention
Yeah,
him.
yeah, McCartney's brilliant.
You know,
Lennon I always found hard to take. I don't know, something about
he's
his
good.
voice.
I like him.
Very
I like
nasally, but McCartney was great.
I like him, yeah. And of course, a lot of people now would be surprised at this. Frank Borman from Eli, German vocalist.
Oh yeah, you
But
remember
he sings in the German accent,
Yeah.
and I like it. It's a very acquired taste,
Mm.
but I like it. I just like it that
Cool,
he
yeah.
sings in his own.
Yeah,
He's a German singing English, but it's German accent.
yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. But that's it. I could go on again, Paul. There's
Look,
so many.
I could have brought 100 records with me.
And if you're disappointed that any of your favourite singers are not here, well,
Tough.
it's just the way it goes, really.
Yeah, make your own list. I mean, like I said, I went through that bunch of stuff there myself. I even typed up for myself to remind me.
Yeah.
And I could have had 40 singers here.
You could have any amount.
Because,
and
you
these are
know,
all your favourites.
It was
Paul.
good when you said do rock.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was starting to tip into
Yeah, go ahead.
blues,
Yeah.
Howlin' Wolf. If I went
Yeah.
into country, I like that chap Jason Isbell. He's a good singer, and you know Willie Nelson's brilliant, and blah blah blah. Where do you start? And all the girl singers I haven't even mentioned. I love all the soul singers. You know,
So many.
like Aretha Franklin and all them. You know, so
So it'll be interesting to read in the comments what your top 10 favourite singers are, vocalists. And it'll be very interesting to read them. But anyway, we're going to leave it for now, Paul, and hopefully now you'll watch this video, like it, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and hopefully we'll see you the next time here on Close to the Edge.
don't forget 4 towns.
And don't forget 4 towns, okay? And thank you all very much for watching. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
And bye for now.